Hey guys! I would do a whole video this week on just the creation process. Here, my Louis Vuitton box. And I always have, hey guys! Hey! Fran here with another question and answer Friday. Yay! Alright guys, how you doing? I missed last week, but you guys got a video. I was traveling and I just thought that I would do the video a little different. But I am back home for this week and I am just so excited to talk to you guys. Alright, so this week is all about manifestation and manifesting. So as you guys know, I love the manifestation and creation process. I get a lot of questions about it. A lot of people are stuck. A lot of people are really just having issues trying to figure out how to get what they want out of their vision and into their physical reality. So basically, out of that spiritual realm, out of that creation realm or that creation stage, and into their physical reality. So I thought that I would do a whole video this week on just the creation process. And I have my box here, my Louis Vuitton box, and I always talk to you guys about me manifesting Louis Vuitton, and I know we call him Louis, but it is Louis. Okay, for those that are kind of, uppity, it's Louis. But I know that a lot of you know my story, so I'm going to tell that story again very briefly. A long time ago, back when I was in corporate America and I was a corporate babe, I was making very, very good money, but I had a very, very lack mindset. So my mindset was one of save, 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 keep, hoard, hoard, hoard. I gotta have more. I'm not gonna have enough. I had a very, very lack mindset. And depending on where you come from in your journey, if you come from a very frugal family, or if you come from a family of spenders, whatever you grow up with, whatever you kind of see throughout your life is what's programmed in you. It's what's ingrained in you. Like we do what our parents do. My mom cooked like this, so I'm going to cook like this. And it takes a lot to reprogram and change how we feel about certain things because of the way that we have grown up. So that's kind of how I was. My dad was very, 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 very frugal. My mom was not so frugal, but my dad was the provider and the breadwinner. My mom was fortunate enough to sit at home and take care of us kids, and my dad and my mom owned businesses, and my mother kind of did the bookkeeping for my father, but she didn't have to work outside the home. So therefore, my dad was in control of what was spent or what was not spent, or so he thought. Now that they are both not here anymore, I'm sure that they're watching. My mom was a spender. Like, she loved to shop. She loved nice things, and she was going to have nice things even if she had to kind of sneak and do it. So all of that, I grew up with that whole hoarding. It's going to be hard to try to get stuff. Even if you make good money, it's going to be hard to get it because you've got to save. So you guys get the point, right? So I had a lot of that mindset, especially when I was working as a single mom and trying to take care of my daughter at that time. I just had one child. I felt like I really have to hold on to this money and I can't do anything nice or good for myself. And so that kind of went throughout my life until I could no longer depend on that job to support me and my lifestyle. So sometimes we have things happen in our life and it shakes us to a point where we begin to seek, right? We begin to seek for a different understanding. We begin to seek. We want to know how things work and why it works for this person and why is it not working for me. My whole struggle was I'm working hard, and I see people who aren't working as hard that I'm close to that are living really, really great lives. So I begin to ask questions. What are you doing? How are you doing this? I begin to pray and ask God for guidance. I begin to pray and ask my angels to help me with this whole prosperity, abundance, law of attraction, creation type thing. Like, I want to know what's up. I have this lifestyle, this vision for my life, and I want to know how I can live that. And most of us, maybe your vision is not Louis Vuitton, right? It may not be Louis Vuitton. It may be a nice car. It may be a nice house. It may be sending your child to college. Whatever your vision is, we all have these grander visions of the life that we want to live. The life that we're living now are, well, let me just speak for me because I don't want to offend anybody. However, the life I was living at that point was not the grandiose life that I had seen for myself. I wanted more. I wanted to have more. I wanted to do more. And I wanted to not work so hard to do it. Like, I did not want to struggle anymore. I was done with struggling. I was done with deciding whether I was going to pay my light bill or get my nails done. I was done with, am I going to have steak this week? That's what I ate meat, guys. I don't eat meat anymore. But whether I'm going to have steak this week or if I'm going to have some beans and rice or whatever the case may be. I was tired of being in that lane that was very repetitious of struggling and struggling and struggling. So I had to find out how people were living these big, grand lives, but they weren't working as hard as I was. So my mentor and I sat down and had a conversation one day. And she asked me the simple question, and that question was, what do you really want? And I don't think that I had ever had anyone up to that point ask me what I really wanted. Like, what do you mean, what do I really want? And she said, when you see your life, what do you really see? She said, that's the vision that you need to take to God. You need to lay it out before Him, and you need to listen to directions. Well, the very next day, because I was anxious, I sat down with a pencil and paper and I wrote out my fantasy life, what I thought was a fantasy at that point. I didn't really think about how it was going to happen. I just knew that I wanted it. And as I began to do that, I began to seek and everything about prosperity, everything about creation, every class that I could take, every person that I could sit in front of that was teaching the principles of the universe and the laws of attraction and prosperity, I somehow found myself in front of, listening, learning, thirsting. And then I began to get silent and ask the questions, how can I create my life, and how can I teach people how to create their lives? The biggest thing about manifestation and creation is the very thing that you have to know is that you have to let go of the outcome. Meaning you can't ask for it and then try to figure out how it's going to happen. You have to ask for it and just know that you know. You have to exercise your faith in the universal intelligence of infinite wisdom, knowing that it is going to guide and direct and open those paths for you to get to the desires of your heart. And that's having faith in all of the powers to be, all of the things that are bigger than you, your angels, God, the universe, whatever you choose to call your higher power. You have to have faith in that. And a lot of times The Secret, the law of attraction, Think and Grow Rich, they talk about faith, but they don't stress how important it is to have faith even through the waiting process. Even while you wait, you have to wait knowing that it's going to show up. So when I decided that I was going to have my very first Louis Vuitton, it was actually a duffel bag. And I would go into Saks almost every week and I would look at this duffel bag. And back then, Louis Vuitton was not as expensive as it is now. It was not as popular as it is now. Or it wasn't as popular where I live as it is now. And I would go into Saks Fifth Avenue every week and I would look at that bag and I would see that bag. I put the bag on my vision board. Every place that I could put a picture of a Louis Vuitton bag, I put it there. I woke up in the morning seeing it. I went to bed at night seeing it. And I never asked the question how it was going to show up. Now, at this point, you have to remember that I was unemployed. I had just started my spiritual practitioner business. I was making $25 an hour, and I was seeing clients sporadically. I was building this business. So making that amount of money, taking care of my household and my child, and all the other responsibilities I had, in my physical reality, there was really no way that that duffel bag was going to show up. Like, there was no way I was going to be able to get it. Not anytime soon. Like, I was going to really have to save. That's what the physical mind was telling me. But because I had been asking and seeking and had this desire to create my life, I had the faith that beyond a shadow of a doubt, this Louis Vuitton bag was going to show up. Well, what happened was I met a lady a couple of months later who was a coach, a life coach. And at that time, life coaching wasn't really that popular. And she said to me, she said, Fran, you have this gift of being able to really hear information clearly from the spirit, from your angels. Have you thought about packaging that into a coaching program for people who are wanting to start their businesses and implement the spiritual practices into their business? Or have you ever thought about using that gift in a coaching package? You follow me, right? To help women or men create their businesses on a higher scale. No, I had not thought about that. She goes, let's work on that. Within 3 weeks, I had my website up and I was offering coaching packages. Didn't know where my clients were going to come from. Didn't know who was going to hire me as a coach. Why would you hire me as a coach? You know, I have a master's in this and a master's in that. Okay, I probably need to go get, you know, some coaching certifications, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I was invited to a event. And I went to this event, and I was invited by a client of mine that I had been doing one-on-one messaging with, helping her get through a difficult time in her life. And she was a very influential woman. So she invited me to this event, and it made me feel really corporate, and I did not want to do corporate, but I kept feeling like I really needed to go. Well, when we got there, sure enough, you had to stand up and introduce yourself. I stood up and I said, hi, my name is Fran Lee. I own a company called Angels with Fran, blah, 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 blah. And I am a spiritual life coach and transformational teacher. And you should have saw those women's faces. They were like, well, what does that mean? What do you do? So I got to explain what I did. And long story shorter, I booked 2 clients for $2,500 a piece. At that time, I was making $25 an hour. Okay? So probably $2,500 a month. I made that money in one day with 2 coaching clients. I allowed the universe to direct me. I simply asked for what I want, and the universe began to align the meetings and the divine order and the divine timing. So you cannot ask for what you want and trust that the universe is going to work for you, and you are still holding on to it so tight that the universe cannot work for you. So I ended up buying the duffel bag. I've used that principle in my life for my business, my home, more Louis Vuitton, trips, vacations, speaking engagements, first class tickets. If you know the principal laws of spirit and you use those, there are universal laws that govern the spirit thing, people. And I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about spiritual universal laws. The law of circulation, the law of giving, the law of faith, the law of believing, the law of creating. You have to know more than just, I am going to sit down and I'm going to visualize my life and it's going to show up. Because if it does not happen like that, you're going to be frustrated and you're going to be running around saying this thing doesn't work. Well, I'm telling you today that it doesn't work like that. You have to be proactive in your life. You have to listen and you have to let go. Sometimes in this physical existence that we live in, we are so controlling. We are so controlling. That's just, there's no other way to put it. We want to not only ask, but we want to dictate how it shows up, when it shows up, and where it shows up. Now, there's nothing wrong with saying, right now, Lord, like, I need it, like, right now, like, I actually needed this, like, yesterday. But you have to understand that there's a divine time to everything. And sometimes the universe has to align things on your behalf so that they show up appropriately. Now, think about it. Be thankful for this buffer that we have, that things don't always show up as soon as you want. Because can you imagine some of the things that you would have if everything you asked for showed up, like, immediately? We would all be on our knees praying, take it back, Lord, take it back. This is not what I want. But if you practice the art of allowing and you practice the art of being specific enough to say what you want, but faithful enough to know that it's going to show up and you don't have to tell it how, you will be amazed at the things that you will create in your life. I really wanted to take some time on this topic today because I get probably 100 emails a week about creating and people being frustrated. So I want to help you guys create this life that you want, whatever that may be. Whatever it is that you want, you can have it, but you have to have faith, and you have to have the faith while you're waiting. You have to have faith before it shows up. And I think that that's where I dropped the ball before. I was, okay, so I asked you a week ago, where is it? Well, God's like, you don't tell me what to do. You can ask me and I'll do it. However, you don't tell me when to do it, Fran. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Bottom line is, nothing is impossible, right? If you believe, it is not impossible. You can have whatever it is you want. Believe me, the people that have what they want believe that they were going to have it. You hear the stories over and over and over again. It's bigger than just visualization. You have to believe for it, and you have to believe through it, meaning while you're waiting. All right, guys, I hope that this helps somebody. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you hit this subscribe button. If you'd like for me to do a series of videos on creating, explaining some of the laws of the universe and how to use those and apply those to help you manifest quicker, leave me a comment below and let me know. Please share this video and have a fabulous and wonderful Friday and weekend. I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.